Heading out for a little walk in the woods? I've been doing that for years. Out there, getting some fresh air, moving my limbs, being in the moment. I thought I'd tell you today, nothing fancy here, just the few little things that I put in my pack to keep me safe and comfortable when I'm on one of my little adventures. It's not a long list, and you probably have many of these things already around the house. But to me, they matter. I feel prepared. And since we're talking about flexing the limbs, I want to tell you something I'm doing this month. Maybe you'd even like to join me. It goes like this. I'm calling it the Get Moving Challenge. 30 minutes a day for 30 days. Me, I've been sitting on my butt way too much. I need to get moving. And really, any kind of moving would be a good idea at this point. So let's define this little 30-30 challenge this way. It can be any kind of movement, whether it's mopping the floors, walking the dog, or doing chair yoga. Heck, even your physical therapy requirement. Oh, which reminds me. Let's get moving. Of course, before you take on anything new, be sure it's right for you. Check with your doctor if you're not sure. My little invitation here is all about moving in ways that feel good and safe for you. Let me get going here, and I'll elaborate more after my little musical interlude. Here we go. Before this runs away from me, please subscribe. It really helps out the channel. It lets YouTube know that we seniors really appreciate authentic content that's meaningful to us. And if you'll hit the like button, those always feel great at the end of the day when I'm a little bit tired, senior and all. And thanks. I'm about to start into my little list of the 10 little things I keep in my pack. But before I do that, if you'd like to join me in the Let's Get Moving challenge, we'll do the comments there. That way we can have an adventure with each other over the next 30 days or so, catch ourselves up with each other, toss around some encouragement, make the day feel good. So I'll have a community post where we can have that little bit of a chat. That way we'll have a dedicated place, and those contributions won't get buried in the comments here for this video. Onwards with my little list. And I know there are going to be some things in here that you'd never guess. They're old-timer things. I might have learned them from a little old lady 60 years ago. That's what I'm talking about, old-timer. And I certainly did learn all those years ago from women and men who had done that for years before me, how important it is to stay safe and to keep risks as low as possible, just in case. So my list is oriented that way. And I know you're going to recognize many of the items on the list, but I promise you, not all of them. And all of them go in this little pack. I'll explain the bell in a minute. First, the rest of the little goodies. Item number 1, top priority, a whistle. Now, you're very likely to have your phone with you, but just in case you can't go for your phone, you need a whistle. And my whistle goes right up here where I can lean over and whistle without doing a whole lot. If I've fallen over, I don't have to reach in my pack for anything. I don't have to fork it out of a bucket. It's going to be right here near my mouth. Come to think of it, there are some packs, and you might want to check this out. There's a whistle built into the buckle on the sternum strap. It sits about here. And in case you didn't realize by now, I might not have mentioned this. I've been in the outdoor industry for years and years and years, not only out in the woods. I was a thru hiker and always penniless, so this is how I found my entertainment. Since my youth. I learned first in the Alps with my father as a child. That's my whistle. Item number 2, and this is going to be very obvious to you. Water. You've got to have a water bottle. In the cooler months, I'm not going to take a whole lot. In the hotter months, and I try not to go out in big heat because I can't really deal with it. But in the warmer months, I might take 2 bottles this size. Most of it for me, some for Brekkie. But I don't stint on taking water. I don't want to take too much because it's heavy, but I don't want to underdo. Something disastrous could happen if I don't have enough. Item number 3, I always take a light. Now, I'm partial to headlamps because they just go on your forehead and you don't even notice them if you're walking. But even a teeny weeny one would work, the kind that goes on a key ring. Now, why do I say take a light? It's mostly a psychological thing. If you have a little accident or get delayed for some reason, it can get kind of spooky out there. The world closes in on you. It can seem like there are eyes looking at you in the darkness. There probably are. And the blackness of the night can feel like a very lonely place. A little light really helps humans with that. It can, at the very least, light up the space around you if you don't have enough light to get out or you're incapacitated in some way. Trust me, this has happened to me. I had to spend a night in the woods once because I could basically no longer see my feet. And I knew I would probably trip and have a big accident. So I had to rest in place. Thankfully, I had a light. It kept me company, made me not so fearful in the darkness. So I really recommend you take one. And the thing about this particular item, I keep all of these little things in my pack at all times. But if the power went down in your house, you would also know where to find it. So that's a big help too. Item number 4, snacks. For me, they have got quite creative these days in the grocery store, way better than they used to be. But if you don't like that kind of snack, even some peanut butter between a couple of pieces of bread, half a sandwich, that would be really helpful. Really, those little things to eat, if you're only out for 40, 45 minutes, those are a safety device. In case you have a sugar crash, you run out of energy suddenly, you want to be able to think straight so you can get out of where you are. So a little snack, it's really important. Now, if we're talking snacks, we gotta talk Brekkie, right? So Brekkie also has kit in my little pack. What do I mean? Well, he's gotta have his little snacks. And what are his favorites? Totally goldfish. But we can do others as well. If we're out there a little bit longer, oh, guess who's coming? You think you get one of these? Call of the Wild. He thinks he's going hiking. That's enough for now. We can have more later. If we're on a little bit longer hike, Brekkie and I like to stop and have a little picnic. It's a big favorite. And he might get little bits of hot dog or sometimes a little bit of ham, something like that. A bit more filling, but definitely snacks. What else do we have in his kit? Well, he and I share the bottle of water, but he's got to have a bowl. And this can be anything, really. I mean, a dog in an emergency, a dog this size, could drink out of a Ziploc bag. Easy peasy. Just throw one in there with your stuff. A plastic container, that works too. Brekkie and I have this nice little bowl. It's teensy weensy and just attaches to the outside of my pack. And it looks like this. I have it because it doesn't take up any room and I can put it on the outside of my pack and get in water really quickly. It folds up into this nice little bundle and it has a nice little carabiner. This item is made by Night Eyes. I'll put the links to any of this stuff in the description. I get a small commission, but that's not what this is about. Anyway, this is made by Night Eyes, and I like their little doggy stuff. It's clever and practical. So what else goes in Brekkie's kit? Poop bags. You gotta have those. I don't care people think they can leave poop in the wilderness, but dog poop, like human poop, it carries organisms that are unfamiliar to the local eco-habitat. So I just don't do that, and it gets packed out. Finally, in his little kit, I have these teensy-weensy Purells. They're wonderful. I keep some in my purse, I keep some in my pocket, but I definitely keep them in my pack. And the little pouch I always take with Brekkie's stuff. They're like one-serving Purells. Love them. That's kind of it for Brekkie. Next item for me. We're at item number 6, and this one you won't have ever guessed, I'm pretty sure. I keep it in a baggie, and it's a fragment this big of microfiber from an old dish towel, rag, something like that. Microfiber. Why do we do microfiber? It dries really quickly, and it's super light. So what do I use this for? Anything. Now, you could also do a piece of paper towel. That would work. Or a bit of a rag. That would be just fine too. But I really recommend taking something like that. And you can pack it out all wet and everything in this little bag. So how do I know this is a good idea? Well, I was out there one day on the trail. This was kind of recent. And I came across this woman. For some reason, she had seen me around before, so she knew who I was. Anyway, she was kind of looking at her hands like this. She had been sitting on the bank of a lake, and she stood up, and as she did so, she pressed down on her hands to kind of help herself up. Well, she put her hand in duck poop, her whole hand. So there she was just kind of looking at her hands, the poor thing. And the little pond where we were, it looked like the kind of place where if you tried to lean over and get some water to wash your hands, you might fall in. Not a good plan. But here I was coming along, and I had that itty-bitty microfiber towel. I handed it to her. We put water on it. Oh, and she was all so happy. We got her nicely washed off. And then she was experienced. She had some Purell, or I had some, and she was good to go. Oh, could you imagine continuing a walk after all that yuck on your hands? So it really kind of saved the day. And me, I could just stuff it in that little baggie, and I washed it when I got home. Easy. And then it goes back in my pack for another day. I'll bet we're up to number 7 by now. And this is gonna sound obvious. A first aid kit. But heck, I don't take a fancy one these days. Why? Generally my walks are 40 minutes or so, and there's a lot of people around. I take what's necessary. Here's what I would put in it. A couple of Bandaids, regular size. Don't worry about the little ones, you might as well use big ones. A couple of aspirin, 1 Benadryl, and an ace bandage. That's it. Now the ace bandage can double for me and for Brekkie, as can the Benadryl. It would work for either of us. As for the ace bandage, if you have a bandana around the house, that will do just as well. It only has to be a temporary solution, so if you twist your ankle, you can tie it up and hobble your way out. Works great. Even a piece of rag would work, a nice big square. Toss that in your bag. Item number 8. This is going to be extremely obvious. It's my phone. These days, I don't go anywhere without it. And I think I've mentioned this before. I have a case made by a company called Loopy. I just happen to like what they do. Why? I have a really bad trimmer, and the case has a loop on the back. I can just thread a finger in there, and my phone stays attached to me. I'm not dropping it in the woods. And if I really felt compelled to, heck, I could tie this loop onto something, onto my back, for instance. then I'm really not dropping it in the woods. That's my iPhone. Now, this isn't just for me to dial and make a call. I don't know if you've discovered that you can yell at it and it'll make a call for you. Also, you can set fall detection and it'll make that call automatically if this is on you and you fall over. But better yet, I always wear my Apple Watch. I don't do anything without this anymore. And my Apple Watch, it doesn't have phone service to it. Instead, if my iPhone is nearby, it's going to use my iPhone to make that call. And how convinced am I about using that combination in the outdoors? It's happened to me. I fell over. I was following a nature call, yeah? I had to get off the trail a moment. Next thing I knew, I am face down in the duff. At least it was nice and soft. I had no idea how I got there. I must have tripped over a hidden bough or something. But there I was, face down in dead leaves, like here. And in that moment, I felt my wrist vibrate. And I quick looked at it and thought, oh, what am I doing here? Oh my gosh, it's calling 911. And then what happened? It couldn't reach 911 because there was no cell service. And then I noticed something else. Since it couldn't do that, it was trying to contact the satellite. Isn't that marvelous? I quick had to stop it in its tracks. I didn't need a satellite. I didn't need 911 at all. I was fine, just a little bit dusty. I wasn't even shaken, to tell you the truth, because I don't even know how I got there. But I was very impressed about how the whole setup worked. My Apple Watch with the iPhone, and I felt so much safer after that. I would never let go of that combination. Item number 10, and I know you didn't expect this. It's a garbage bag. What's it for? No, not garbage. I'm not bringing a whole big old black sack of garbage out of the wilderness. A few bits and pieces, sure. A stray candy wrapper, yeah, I'm gonna pick it up. More than that, I'd probably let the Forest Service or the town know, whoever's in charge. But garbage bag, what's that for? It's not just one thing. What can you do with a garbage bag? You can sit on it. I mean, if you're just stopping to have a little rest, take in a view, and get a little bit of a snack, you can sit on your garbage bag. What else can you do with it? If you suddenly get a chill, or even start to feel a little bit damp, and maybe you weren't expecting a thunderstorm, but there you are, you need your garbage bag. Why? You're gonna punch a hole in it for your head. Then you're gonna punch armholes in it. And what are you gonna do? You're gonna wear your garbage bag. Instant rain jacket. Not only that, you know, if you wear plastic, you get a little bit warm. You can get kind of sweaty. It retains heat. That might be really helpful if you get a chill. You might get just enough heat to keep you going. And that's what this whole little piece is about. Those are my core pieces. As I was handling my stuff, I bet you heard this little bell. That's a bear bell. Right now we're going into winter. The bears are kind of hungry, so they forage quite a bit. It would be very easy for me, just even on a fairly close-in trail, to come across a bear. I don't want to have that happen. Having a bear bell on my pack lets a bear know that there's humans coming down the pathway. They don't like to be around humans. They'll disappear into the woods. I prefer it that way. Now, one final thing that I demonstrated in passing. I had my whistle hooked on a carabiner. And I mentioned it goes right here. Well, I also use this carabiner for my keys, my car keys. I'm not going to stick my car keys just in a pocket. They have to be attached to something. I don't want to lean over and then they're gone, or to get back to the car and they're not in my pocket anymore. So I tie them somehow onto me or my pack, like that. these go right here. Now, if you're getting a carabiner, get a nice sturdy one. Not one of those flimsy little cheap ones, because the latches can break on those and you might as well not have one. These last for a long time, as in years. Another kind, this one I have on my keys. These are made by Bandaids, the company I mentioned before. They're really nice, they're lightweight. I've had this one for years and years and years. Anyway, carabiners, I really recommend them. I might even carry a spare on the outside of my pack, just in case. So that's pretty much what I tuck into my pack. And as for my pack, I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, it's 12 liters. It's made by North Face. And I like it just fine for what I'm describing. A fairly short walk in the woods on a fairly populated trail. Anything longer than that, or more rugged, or even less habituated, I would be taking the standard 10 essentials. And I'm going to put that link for you in the description so you know what they are. They were developed years ago by the Mountaineering Club in Seattle. When you hear the term 10 essentials, that list is exactly what's meant. So yes, on a more extended walk, or on a more rugged trail, or solo on a less peopled trail, I would be doing the 10 essentials, and I carry them in a bigger pack. And don't forget, the Get Moving Challenge starts now. 30 minutes of some kind of moving. I mean housework, gardening, taking a nice walk with your dog. 30 minutes for 30 days in a row. I'll see you over in the community post. The link will be in the description. It's there where we'll check in with each other. Share what we've discovered, what kinds of things we decided to do, and how we feel about it. I'm excited for this new adventure, and I think I'll feel a whole lot better once it's underway. And that's it for now. Perhaps you'll get the moving bug, and I'll see you over in the community post. And if not, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll talk soon, all right? See you then.